Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right, baby, welcome to the. If you give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking awesome. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. Where's you, buddy? My buddy Rainey's here. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Description box below, the very top link if you want to help support my channel out. It would mean so much to me. I got 3 different membership levels. The top link, it takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And once again, I thank you in advance. Thank you. And also, just a little ways down in the description box, there's a link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,400 members in the group. It's growing all the time. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, it's I think it's November 5th is the trade deadline. So, we got some sell. It's like 6 games in. It's like we're selling already. It's like, man, it's just crazy. Just stone cold crazy, I tell you. It just goes to show you the way it is in the NFL. It's like, one year, it truly is. I mean, what it is, I think it's like 50% of the teams, from like the year before that made the play will not make the playoffs the following year. And it's just, it's like you looked at the Browns last year, it's like, man, they got a defense, they got a running game, they got Watson, if he's out there, they got Flacco, they got Cooper, it's like, man, keep an eye on those Brownsy, baby. They look like they're the real deal for years to come. Man, from the penthouse to the outhouse in 1 year, boy. I'll tell you, they're like, I'll tell you what, boy. Probably one of the worst. You got to say one of the worst. Maybe because of the amount of money they gave, all guaranteed. If not one of the, maybe possibly, everybody's got their own opinions, possibly the worst deal in the history of the NFL. I'm sure there'll be some more stupider ones coming along. So, but it just goes to show you, it's like, it's, oh yeah, he's been in trouble with the law and this, that, and like that. 100% guarantee his whole salary. Oh yeah, come on over, buddy. Oh my God. I'm not sure when they can get out of his. Let's take a look here. Let's look at Cleveland Browns salary cap here. There we go. Over the cap. I usually just pick Spot Track just for the heck of it. Mari Cooper, he's gone, right? Adams, he went to the Jets, so it's weird. So the Jets picked up, right? The Bills picked up somebody. Now the Jets ain't got no excuses. No excuses. All right, so Watson, let's see. His cap hit this year is only about $28 million. Dead cap, $200 million. Oh, my God. He's going to be a free agent after 2026. Is that what it was? 2024. 27. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Watson. His cap hit next year is almost $73 million, and it's $73 million. And then when they have a void year on there of another $27 million. Oh my Wow. The guy is just playing. I mean, the guy's actually playing worse than Daniel Jones, if you can imagine that. Right? Oh my God. So if they just let him go, they have $73 million next year. Or I don't know if they let it go. It all goes in 1 year or exactly how it works. But next year is capped at $73 million. I don't know who would possibly trade for the guy. I have just no idea. The only one nice thing is that you could look at, is that, they might have to bite the bullet or whatever for the next, 2 years, it's looking like, because then they have a void year on there. Right. Uh-oh. There you go. So it's, with Watson, they got like $73 million in it for absolute trash, because he ain't nothing compared to what he was when he was with the Texans. Oh my God, what an absolute horrible. I mean, you can't. Who's trading for that? So the thing is, if they wind up at least if for the Browns' sake, right? If they wind up, picking in the top 5 or it's 10 or so, whatever it is, at least they have an offensive-minded coach. They may pick up a quarterback, right? And then, Watson ain't going to groom him. But, maybe the coach can groom him for a year or so. And then after you got 2 more years of Watson, you just let him go. You bite the bullet with the $27 million, whatever is the void year. And you bite the bullet on that one. What an absolute horrible deal that is. So nobody's going to possibly want to trade for that trash. Absolute garbage. Oh my God, what a horrible, just absolute horrible. And the thing about it is that they make it fully guaranteed. It's like, well, what if he sucks? You know what I mean? You're paying the guy all this money, or what if he sucks? It's ridiculous. $73 million for absolute garbage. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, the short is, this article here, it's kind of like, I can, got a couple good points in there, but it's a couple of them. It's like, who might be traded, right? Might go before the trade deadline. Now with the Giants now, because once you start selling off things, you're kind of like basically, kind of like telling the locker room, it's like, guys, season's over with. We blow. We're tanking, right? And just ride the storm out, and thanks for shopping at Kmart this year. You know what I mean? So, so he's got to be careful with how you start doing that. So Shane's got if he's gonna wind up trading away some assets here. But there are a couple of guys on here that would make some sense. It's kind of like, especially if you're not going to, if you really don't see yourself re-signing these guys for next season, get something for them. Right? Get something for them. Now, the one thing is you got the November 5th, so you got a few more games. So I'm saying we're 2-4. Say the Giants wind up losing the next 3 games and we wind up like 2-7. Could we still possibly make the playoffs? Sure, if we won the next 8 games in a row or something. But is that going to happen? Probably not. So the thing is that if you get one, one or two of these, a couple of these guys, because a couple of these guys would make sense for other teams. Very valuable positions, so the short is here. It says exploring 6 New York Giant players and why they will or won't be dealt at the NFL trade deadline. I mean, there's one of these guys. This is just so stupid. I don't even understand. I mean, just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But the first one makes some sense in a way, but it doesn't make sense. First one they say here is Daniel Jones, and they say no, he will not be dealt by the trade deadline. You got to find somebody who's going to want him. He's still owed some money. Now, the only thing I could say would be like somewhere along the line, the Giants like wind up eating almost all of his salary. You trade him away and get whatever third-round pick for him, third-day pick for him. Right? If you eat his whole salary or something like that, but here it says, at first glance, financially, you could probably make this work as Jones has no guaranteed money for 2025 or 2026 years on his deal. Okay. However, eat the rest of his salary for this season. So the Giants, I guess, would, we'll pay for, you take Daniel Jones, you give us whatever, a fourth or a fifth or something like that. Right. And we'll eat the rest of his salary and you give us a fifth for next year. Right. However, he does have a significant injury guarantee that might even get him benched further into the 2024 NFL season. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on. $23 million of the 2025 base salary, which is $30 million, is guaranteed for injury at signing, and a season-ending injury that impacts his availability next year could prove very costly. Now, once again, if the Giants just start drifting, down the down the dumper, that's something to keep an eye on with Daniel Jones, because it's like, Shane's kind of like, well, do we want the guy to go out there and perform? Yeah, but do we want him to possibly get injured and then we have to owe him some money next year because he's injured? Nah. But the elephant in the room has nothing to do with guarantees, etc. For Jones' price tag, there's no NFL team that would be giving up draft picks or players for a quarterback of his caliber. Now, here, this one makes some sense here. Some. They say Jalen Hyatt. Hyatt's role has increased the last couple of weeks, but that's only because Malik Neighbors is not there. The truth is the former Tennessee Vol wide receiver isn't being used by the NFL team that drafted him. With 2 years left on his rookie deal beyond 2024, he's a viable target for any team that was intrigued with his game during the 2023 draft process. He's an inexpensive player, very inexpensive, with upside at highly important position. He's arguably one of the most tradable players on the roster, and the Giants don't seem that interested in keeping him around. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they saw in him. It's kind of like, some of this just doesn't. It's just like, what did you see in him? Not even that, you traded up to get him. I was at the third and the fifth. They trade up a third and a fifth to go get him with the Rams. Well, other than 5 touchdowns against Alabama, what did you see in him? And so you get him in, we don't need him. We hitting a crack pipe when you, what are you doing? So he is a viable, but the thing is, it's kind of like, if he's not, showing that he can be a viable receiver, I don't know who else was going to really want him out there. Maybe might be a team out there, possibly. Might want a little depth on their, maybe give you, a 6th, 7th round pick for the guy or something like that. But he's at a valuable position, and he's got speed. Speed can kill. So, but once again, it's just stuff you got to be careful of, because you start sending messages to the locker room. Hey guys, we're just everything's for sale. Everybody's going. That's not sending a good message to the locker room. So, got to be careful. Now, the next kind of list makes a lot of sense, in a way. Right? Right now, he's one of your most valuable guys, but he does make some sense, which would wind up being, unfortunately, sadly, if you don't think you're going to re-sign him for next year, trade him, whatever, and get something in return for him. Azeez Ojulari, right? Now, he's obviously one of the most important guys on the roster right now. I mean, to help win football games because of his edge rush. We saw what he did against the Bengals. And he actually could have even had 3 sacks, right? Because Burnsy's banged up with a groin. If we give him some, hopefully, and hopefully he'll be able to go against the Eagles. We'll have to wait and see. But Kayvon's going to be out for a little while. So Azeez is a very important part of the Giants right now. Dexy has a hip. We're going to go over this. Burnsy's got a groin. Kayvon's got a wrist. I mean, it's like the whole front wall is like all banged up. So Azeez is, very important part. But I mean, if Shane doesn't have, doesn't want to or doesn't think he's going to try to re-sign him, or doesn't think he'll want to resign, whatever. Because as of right now, you got Kayvon and you got Burnsy. So that means Azeez is a backup. He may not want to be a backup. He might want to be a starter. And on other teams, he might be a starter. So he might go where maybe not so much where the grass is greener, shall we say, but he might want to go where there's more playing time. So whether or not Shane might want to sign him back or not, he may not want to come back if he's not going to be starting. And there's no indication he's going to. I mean, we got Kayvon. Because remember, Shane didn't draft Azeez, right? That was the Judge era, right? So Azeez may not come back. Unfortunately, because it's a shame because having the third edge rusher is huge. Unfortunately, the third, not the first, not the second, not the 2 guys starting, but the third guy can get a little irritated. He's like, I'm pretty good, and I'm on the sideline. I'm not liking that. Same thing with Isaiah Simmons. It's like, dude, I'm a freak of an athlete, this, that, and the other thing. You brought me back, and I'm standing on the sideline drinking Kool-Aid. Why am I not playing defense? So this might be the same thing once again with Isaiah Simmons. He may not want, it's like, I wouldn't mind coming back, but you said Shane Bowen said I was going to be like a money backer. I was going to be on the field all the time. First, second down, maybe in the slot. He said this on Hard Knocks, and third down money backer. Well, first, second, and third down, I'm on the sideline. Fourth down, I come in and I play special teams. That's all you got me doing for the most part. So Isaiah Simmons may not want to come back. But anyway, Azeez Ojulari, former second-round pick. Ojulari will be hitting free agency next year. He's played in 42.9% of the team's defensive snaps. And with Brian Burney and Kayvon Thibodeau on the team, it seems like he won't be getting a promotion anytime soon. Now, he also has played 42.9% of the snaps because, last week, against the Bengals, that percentage bumped up because he was the starter. But basically, he was playing maybe like a third of the snaps. So, for somebody who wants to be a starter, he's only basically the first 5 games, and he was playing like maybe a third of the snaps. That doesn't sit well with him. Then in this article here, they got Brian Burns. Why the? I have no idea. This is from AZ Sports. It's a nice article and all, but Brian, what? Why do you put Brian Burns on here? Would they trade Brian for what? They just went out and gave him all this contract and this. I mean, what do you trade Brian Burns? We got Kayvon and we got Brian Burns. We got 2 edge rushers, right? We need. If Azeez ain't coming back, we do need to get it. We got to add to that front defensive wall. We gotta next year, early in the draft. Got to get somebody. Then they put Dexter Lawrence. I have no idea. Why would you basically almost your best player? Basically, he's your best, especially he's your best defensive player. Why? I don't know, Dexter Lawrence. But the last guy on this list does make some sense here. All right. Once again, it's the same thing here. If you don't see yourself, re-signing a guy. Now, this one's a little bit of a toss-up because, it's Darius Slayton. So this one, once again, is a toss-up. It's like, Well, we have Slayton, who's been, on the team for a long time. He came in, obviously, the same year with Daniel Jones and Sexy Dexy, right? But it's like with him, it's like, well, do we want to, get rid of him and leave us with Jalen Hyatt, who we may not put on the field? The problem is that, Jalen Hyatt, after he's a free agent, he wants to get paid. Nobody's going to pay him $20 million a year, but, he's only getting $6 million a year with the Giants. He's going to want to, go with it once again. The grass is a little greener. So the thing is that, to the Giant, he's on the field. So he's getting some playing time, which is cool. But he wants to get some playing time. And once again, because, this is his sixth season. He's not going to be playing for 37 years. He only has so many more years left in him. And one of his biggest assets, really, is his speed. And, maybe he was a 4.3 guy, 4.3 up, 4.38, 4.39, whatever it was, so many years ago. Well, in a few years from now, he's not going to be 4.39 guy. He's going to start losing some of that. That's his biggest, biggest bonus that he has going for him is his speed, right? So he's going to want to go. He wants to get a payday, and he hasn't really gotten a payday yet. He got to pay. He got to pay 2 years. So he made like $12.5 million or 12.7, something like that. He's got some incentives this year but he's not meeting those incentives. Not with his offense. We're scoring 1 point a game. He's gonna meet some incentives. He ain't meeting nothing this year. No incentives. So he's gonna want to at least get one nice, something from a team. So the thing is like that the Giants, what do they do? Did they ante up some money for Darius to try to keep him here? Or do they let him go and save themselves some money and hope that Jalen works himself into a starting role? Who knows? But so Darius Slayton could be a possible. So for what it's worth, Wan'Dale Robinson can also take this spot. Wan'Dale Robinson. Where do these people get this stuff from? However, Slayton will hit free agency. Why would you trade Wan'Dale Robinson? This article is so stupid. Slayton will hit free agency in 2025, which makes him a much more viable candidate. Yeah, he's not. I ain't coming back. So if you don't think he's coming back, or you're not going to re-sign him or anything like that, trade him. The way you get whatever. A 6th rounder back for him or something, late a third day pick for him. Get something in return for him instead of just letting him hit free agency. Right. Slayton has had some issues with drops this season, but is still a productive wide receiver. Many contender teams could look at for a wide receiver 3 type role. So. Some of it's just, especially with the Z's and Slayton, they're gone. A good chance they might be gone after this season, especially if you have no, if Shane has almost no inkling of re-signing these guys, it may not be a bad idea to try to trade them if you can and get something in return for them. 6th round pick, a 7th round pick. Get something in return for him. As I said, the other one could be, I kind of maybe a little way, Jalen Hyatt. If you see no progress from the guy, if other teams know what he did against obviously Alabama, but of course the other teams are going to want to well, how come he's not on the field? Well, if you guys, So if you get rid of him, the one enticing thing about him is he's still on his rookie deal for another 2 seasons after this year. So if another team were to take him this year, they'll have the final half of this season, another 2 seasons where he'll be really, really cheap and he's fast. And if they gave up a 7th round pick for him, they gave up a 7th round pick for somebody who's really fast. Now, once again, maybe if he goes to another team, they maybe have another coach or another system or whatever. He might prosper in it. That's possible. So I mean, if Shane they don't think he's progressing enough, it's like, well, he's not he's trying, but he's not grasping it or whatever the case is. It's a possibility, but as I said, the one thing is that you got to be very, very careful, like with Shane. Once you start jettisoning your players, it's like you're sending a message to the rest of the team, and so you got to be very, very careful with that. Very, very careful. All right. Well, there's some good news, and obviously most of it's bad news on the injury front for the Giants. Unfortunately, the injury bug's really starting to creep up on the Giants, and unfortunately for the Giants, like in the beginning, right? In the beginning, there was, we had some guys who were maybe a little nicked up here or there or whatever, but it wasn't like, major starters or anything like that. We had on the defense, right? We had Burns and Sexy was there and Kayvon and Carrick. McFadden missed was it the first week? I think it was, but after that he came back. We had Banks and, Pinnock and Newman, so we had a lot on the defense, but they're just starting to drop like flies now. So on offense, defense, not many teams out there actually have both their kickers injured. We're only 6. Actually, both were injured, but after 5 weeks. So after 5 weeks, somehow we lost a punter and a kicker. They play like 3 snaps a game, and somehow we lost both of them. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. But the injuries are starting to mount. Shocking. Especially we're talking about the Giants. It's shocking. But every team's got injuries, but unfortunately, a lot of the guys that we're losing now are like really cornerstone pieces here for the Giants. So we got now we'll have to wait and see because we got Sexy Dexy and Brian Burns not practicing as the Giants begin prep for the Eagles. It says injuries to key players are mounting for the New York Football Giants. It says here, as if losing Andrew Thomas to the Liz Frank injury wasn't bad enough, Giants were without 2 other star players on Wednesday. So we lost Kayvon, right? And then we lost Andrew Thomas. Now we got Burnsy and Sexy Dexy. They weren't practicing. Doesn't mean they were out for this Sunday's game. Doesn't mean they're doubtful, but they just weren't practicing, right? Defensive tackle, Sexy Dexy with a hip. And edge rusher Brian Burns with a groin. The team's best defensive players did not practice. The other Giant held out of practice, and when it was the Hammer, Scottish Hammer, Jamie Gillen, who missed last Sunday's game against the Cincinnati Bengals with his hamstring injury. Dable said, we've got some injuries. Hard to believe. Let's see, Lawrence and Burns both day-to-day. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to get into whether I think they'll practice tomorrow. Dable added to Giants are now without Thomas on offense and Kayvon on defense. They could also now be without Lawrence and Burns for a key divisional clash. I mean, so basically almost the whole defensive front may not be playing against the Philadelphia Eagles. At least it sounds like. So on the good part, right, that wide receiver Malik Neighbors, who missed the last 2 games with a concussion, is making progress. Neighbors was expected to practice on Wednesday in a red non-contact jersey. The next step in clearing the NFL's concussion protocol. He passed some of the steps that he needed to do. He's better, which is good. It's a good thing, they will say. So we'll see. We'll go through today. I'm optimistic, but I'm not going to push anything. That's the type of injury you want to be smart with. But also, it sounds like motor. right, is doing well, right? So possibly our number one running back, which maybe seems to be determined because wait, Tyrone Tracy Jr. has been playing. Might have a little conflict of interest there with Motor, Singletary, and Tyrone Tracy, right? So, but I'll tell you what, at least Tracy really looks like a good pickup for the Giants in the 5th round. So Malik Neighbors, who missed the last 2 weeks, is advanced to the latter stages of the protocol and was set to practice. Let's see. So you got the bad news. You got Burns, Dexter Lawrence. Dable confirmed the news about Andrew Thomas. Let's see. Dable also said that the 21-day window won't open this week on kicker Graham Gano, who is eligible to come off IR this week, but it's not going to start just yet. Check back later for more Giants. We got more on the Eagles injuries, so they got some of their own. Mailata, their worldly tackle, left tackle. Let's see. The Eagles listed 3 players who did not participate: Dallas Goedert, Jordan Mailata, and Milton Williams. Goddard reportedly could be out for a few weeks, so that's a huge thing. That's huge. They're a big tight end. The Eagles currently have Grant Calcaterra and Jack Stahl. Remember him, right? On the roster behind him. Remember Jack Stahl, right? Mailata said he will miss multiple games. Fred Johnson was seen lining up at left tackle in the media-attended portion of Wednesday's practice, so it looks like he'll be the starter for Sunday. So they'll be without their starting left tackle. They'll be without their tight end. Williams is unexpectedly appearing in this section. We'll see if he's upgraded tomorrow or stays under did not participate. The Eagles listed 3 players under limited participation: Darius Slay, Hunt, and Oren Burks. Slay is reportedly on track to play against the Giants unless they get newly injured in today's practice. Hunt and Burks will probably be available this weekend. So, they have a few of their own guys, so once again, a lot of it is, not so much who you play, it's when you play them. It just happened to be for the Eagles that, I said, they got some guys out too. But, if you go back, if you played them a couple weeks ago, right? Devontae Smith was out. A.J. Brown was out. Lane Johnson, he was out with a concussion. So, so they get those guys back, but now they're losing a couple other guys. Now, unfortunately, everybody that we're losing is like the best of the best that we have. Thankfully, we're getting, I don't know if you want to put Andrew Thomas at the number one most important offensive player, or you want to put Malik Neighbors. You put 1A, 1B, whatever you want, but we lost, obviously, Andrew Thomas, but unfortunately for the whole year. See you next year, buddy. But we're getting Malik Neighbors hopefully back. If not this week, hopefully the following week. But, we're going to be banged up against the Eagles. So it's going to be, should be a very raucous crowd because, the Eagle fans travel very well. And we're just up the turnpike. So they hop on the turnpike and they'll be here in a couple hours. So the Eagle fans will travel well. So it's going to be a heck of a game, especially because we got our former running back showing up. So it'll be a heck of a contest. But it would have been nice for the Giants if the Giants were at least our secondary. We got our linebackers. We got our secondary, but. It certainly does not mean that Sexy won't be playing. It certainly does not mean that Burnsy won't be playing, right? You looked at Burnsy. He did not look like he was hurting that bad against the Bengals. He played a heck of a game. The thing is that after the game was over, who the heck was it? Was it Ed Valentine? somebody wrote an article and they posted in there about Burnsy. He said, he was like limping in the locker room and stuff like that. So he is, that groin's affecting him, right? So how badly it is, who knows? This is something he can, pain manage his way through. Who knows? As I said, if he takes the week off, right? Can he play on Sunday? Take the next week off, play on a Sunday. Have to wait and see. But we sure could use him. To try to keep Jalen Pocket. Jalen Hurts in the pocket, right? You want to keep him confined in the pocket. They go sexy push, because now the thing is, because Kelsey's not their center anymore, right? Sexy always had a hard time. Kelsey was just smaller, shorter, this, that, and the other thing, but he was very good with like leverage and angles and all of that. Very, very good at keeping Sexy at bay, but he's not there anymore. So if Sexy, can once again push the pocket, and we can get Burnsy and Ojolari, right, to contain Hurts, that would be huge, because they did get both their wide receivers back, and apparently A.J. Brown had a very good game last week. So should be a great contest. Now the thing is, the Eagles do not have a phenomenal defense, so if we can protect Daniel Jones, we got Malik Neighbors hopefully maybe coming back, so that would be a huge help. But oh my God, talking about Daniel Jones, don't expect any TD passes this weekend. No TD passes for you. Well, we go back to last year, right? We got like 5 games in a row at home. You look. This is, oh my God, oh my God, this is just straight up trash. It's just unbelievable. Now I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's like he's got a thing with primetime games, and he just, I don't know, at home. Because the last 5 games he's played at home, right? 3 of them were in prime time, right? The Cowboy game last year, right? We had the Bengal game, and we had the Seahawk game. Actually, that was at nighttime too, right? But we scored 10 points in those 3 games. 10 points. So he did have the one good game out. I said, well, last year we only lost 40-0 week 1 against the Cowboys. That was the prime time, right? Then the following week against the Cardinals on the road, though, we had the epic comeback against the Cardinals. You got to go back to 1942, I think it was, when we had to come back as big as what we did in 1942. Then on the road against the 49ers, we lost 30-12. We scored 1 touchdown. It was a running touchdown. And we went for 2 points. Of course, we didn't get it. So we lost 30-12. Then the following week, I think it was prime time once again. We played against the Seahawks. That was at home, and that was the pick 6. Daniel Jones. I forgot who he was staring down in the end zone. Got the ball, staring at the guy, waiting for him to turn around. Just eyeing him up, waiting for him to turn around. All right, I'm looking at you. You looking at me? All right, okay, all right, you ready? Ready? Okay, all right. There's the ball. It's coming to you. All right, get your hands up. Okay, all right, here it comes. Here comes the ball. Here it comes. There it goes. There it goes. 597 yards the other way for a pick 6. How did that happen? So against the Seahawks, the home game, we scored 3 points. Then when he got injured, that was on the road against the Dolphins, we only scored 16 points. But of course, the one touchdown we scored there was the Jason Pinnock interception return for a touchdown. So then he was out. And he came back against the Raiders, and he got injured. That was the game he got injured there. And he was out for the rest of the season. So the 2 games he played in last season at home, we scored a grand total of 3 points. So I'm not a rocket scientist, but, even I know 3 points that doesn't. There's no way you can score a touchdown with only 3 points. So the last the first 2 games that he played were the 2 games he played at home last season. Couldn't score a touchdown. So fast forward to this year. I think you know where we're going here, right? Oh my goodness! All right, so we got. All right, so of course we got the Viking game. He did throw a touchdown pass. So please forgive me. He did throw a touchdown pass in the first game of the season. Unfortunately, it was Van Ginkel of the other team who caught it, ran it back for a touchdown. Right. So obviously, in week 1, we scored 6 points. Right. No touchdowns. Right. 2 field goals. Right. Then obviously we were on the road against the Commanders, and we were on the road against the Browns. Then of course at home against the Cowboys in week 4, we actually scored double-digit points. It's the only time we scored double-digit points in the last 5 home games that Daniel Jones has been involved in. But of course those 15 points, of course they were all field goals, right? So once again, no touchdown passes. And then, of course, in this past week here against the Bengals, we scored 1 touchdown. And we, of course, it was a rushing touchdown. So, actually, if you want to look at it, right, in the last 5 home games, I grew up in the 70s. That was some bad football. We would actually even score touchdowns at home in the 70s. I mean, and we were bad. I mean, it was one of the years, I think, I can't remember, it was 76, I think it was. I think we averaged like 12, 13 points a game. That's even worse than we now. But we still scored touchdowns at home. But the last 5 games at home, not even throw a touchdown. We scored 1 touchdown in the last 5 home games. And it was just this past week. So do I think we're going to throw a touchdown? Man, I hope so. I mean, Malik Neighbors possibly reel one in or something like that. Absolutely, of course. Sure. I mean, anything's possible. I said the Eagles don't have a great secondary, nothing like that. And the other thing, too, is that if we have a hard time holding their offense down, we're going to need to score some points, right? So, we might pick up a touchdown pass here or there. I'll have to wait and see. But, I mean, I can't even talk. It's like 5 games at home in a row, and we scored 1 touchdown. 1, but with Daniel Jones as the quarterback. I don't mean, I mean, we weren't setting the world on fire last year either. We scored what? We beat the Redskins 14-7. We lost to the Jets. We scored 10 points there. So we really haven't lightened the scoreboard up. But I'm just saying with Daniel Jones, the $160 million guy, right? $140 million a year. And the guy can't even throw a touchdown pass at home. It's like 5 games in a row. This would be a great weekend to break that streak, especially if we got Malik Neighbors coming back. So keep your fingers crossed. But I'll tell you what, that just blows my mind. I mean, not even a touchdown, but last 5 home games that Daniel Jones has played in, we've scored 1 touchdown. Wow. All right. How about this, huh? Are we going to go straight off the couch again? Nah, I don't think so. Even Justin Pugh said the same thing. I mean, because obviously we're looking for, might be looking for a few good men here, but we'll have to, it doesn't seem like Justin Pugh. Says ex-Giants offensive line Justin Pugh reveals if he'd unretire to replace Andrew Thomas. Now, the thing is, let's see here. Oh, wait. Where are we at here? Okay, we got here. Of course, last year, this time around, it was Pugh who was called upon to come straight off the couch and into the fray. The veteran blocker even played some left tackle for Big Blue in 2023. Now he talked about this is left tackle. It doesn't mean if he'd unretire and participate on the offensive line, but let's see, which sparked a question from a fan on whether or not Pugh would come out of retirement to help replace Thomas once again. Unfortunately, the 34-year-old declined the fan's request, replying that he's not playing left tackle again, with a laughing emoji. So he was being sarcastic about it, right? Justin Pugh, it looks like James Spatafora, I guess, asked him a question. I guess it was on, X, maybe. But he said, not playing left tackle again. But after that, he put the laughing, crying emoji on there. So I guess he realized even he was overmatched last year. But that was left tackle. It doesn't make me, we don't need, we got guys on the interior, right? We still got extra guys on the interior, so we don't really have anybody who's banged up, knock on wood, So for the time being, it looks like it'll be on recent draft picks of Zudo and Neal to fill the void on the offensive line. So, but the Giants, I think, what I heard was I think it was Big Blue Kickoff Live. I think the Giants at the end, because Thomas made it all the way through the game. He made it all the way through. He toughed it out and everything like that. He had a Liz Frank injury that needed surgery. Also, Sean O'Hara on Big Blue Kickoff Live was talking. He said there's a couple ways, about going about it. Some of it just needs some rest. You rest it, and it can repair itself that way. But if it's past the resting stage, you need to repair it, and that comes with surgery. So apparently, that was funny because I think Sean O'Hara had a Liz Frank injury. I don't know if it was, so forgive my stupidity. I can't remember if it was with the Giants, maybe it was with the Browns or whatever. But I think he said he had the same doctor that Andrew Thomas went to. The guy in North Carolina, Dr. Anderson, North Carolina, South Carolina, Charlotte. So he had the same doctor. So this guy's been doing this for a while. I think he put 3 screws in O'Hara's foot. Right. But he said there's a couple ways of going. So, he went down there to get, obviously a second opinion and all and everything like that. The doctor, so there's a couple ways could have gone, but apparently he needed surgery. So, right. It is what it is. So, obviously he'll be out for the season. But the interesting thing is it's kind of like now, what do you do? How badly do you want to upset the apple cart? Right. Because the Giants, I think, after Thomas finished the 6th game of the season, after the 6th game, I think the Giants were the only offensive line in the NFL that had all the same 5 guys play every snap throughout so far. And of course, that is no mas, right? So since Thomas is gone, but after the first 6 games, the Giants were on a little bit of a roll there, so which is shocking, right? But the thing is now, how badly you want to upset the apple cart? So you're going to keep obviously Runyon, Schmitz, right, and Van Roten, right? Keep those guys, right? All right. So we got Runyon, we got Schmitz, we got Van Roten. We're going to take Luminor and plop him over here, and then put Neal, right, at the right tackle. Or you're going to keep a Luminor where he's at and then put a Zudo over there. That's going to be the interesting thing. We're not exactly sure. It doesn't seem like Dable's exactly sure how he's going to do it. Because at his press conference, he was possibly talking about either could happen. Sliding the Luminor over, putting Neal in, or keeping a Luminor there. That way you keep your 4 guys who have been there all season long, because continuity is huge, right? So keep the 4 guys, because last year Luminor did play some left tackle for the Raiders. But, if you want to keep the 4 guys in the same spot and put a Zoo out there, But let's not forget. Now, I'm going to show you something there. Hopefully, coaching can work some magic here, because Azudu was the one that got Daniel Jones hurt the first time last year. I mean, if you see, I mean, it was just like, it's just, sometimes it's just, you just like scratching your head. It's like, what are these guys doing? It's like, it was just unbelievable. It's like when Daniel got the snap from center, Ginkle blew by Azudu so badly. Azudu like backed up and he almost like dove head first and barely touched like Ginkle. I mean, he was beat so badly. It was unbelievable how bad he got burnt. I mean, holy cow. I mean, that almost looked like me out there. I mean, he backed up a couple times and he's like, oh my God, this guy's and he almost like had to dive head first just to touch the guy. Oh my God, just trash. I mean, I don't know what the guys they're teaching these guys, but if I can show you here, let's see, share screen. Where are we at here? Nope. Gotta find the guys here. Okay, we'll start with Illuminor first. All right, and we'll share the screen now. There he is. Dude's got a big head, don't he? But if you look here, right? Pull it over here. Okay, there we go. And now, if you look here, right, 2024 with the Giants and 2020 with the Raiders, right? Last year, his overall grade. Now, we're early in the season, right? He's learning with a new bunch of guys. He's learning a new system, blah, 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 right? He's at a 63 right now, Illuminor. Now, once again, this is all by PFF. I'm not saying I sat there and watched every snap he took. I watched 800 different angles. Absolutely not. I don't do that. Not going to do that. Don't have the time to do that. Don't have the mind to do that. You know what I mean? So that's why I go with PFF, right? So he's at a 63. He was a 68.7 last year. But you'll notice, I mean, his pass blocking has actually gotten better. His pass block, his run blocking has gone down a little bit. His run blocking last year was a 71.5. Took a little bit of a dip, so to speak, 58.1. But that doesn't mean it can't go up. But if you look here, right, he had a 68.7, a 67.3. First couple games here, he didn't do too well, right? But if you also notice here, I mean, against Seattle, he graded out a 76, a 62 this past weekend. But his pass blocking, 84 or 76. So I mean, but as I said, his run so far after 6 games, his run blocking has taken a little bit of a dive. But as I said, you also notice here that his gone up almost 8 points was his pass blocking grade. So his run blocking took a little bit of a dip, but his pass blocking has gone up. And once again, I said we're still early in the season. But but what I'm pointing this out for too is that the last season was with Carmen Brasilia, right? The coach, right, with the Raiders. Now he's with the coach with the Giants. So I mean, he's done a pretty decent job with him. Okay. So that's Illuminor. Now let me see if I can pop up Van Roten here. Where are we at here? Van Roten. I know he's here somewhere. There we go. Okay. Now here. All right. It's kind of the same thing with him. Van Roten, right? Now he has gone, it's a little weird. His run blocking grade has stayed the same. It's a little bit opposite of Illuminor. Illuminor's run blocking, as of right now, is taking a dive, right? But his pass block grade's gone down quite a bit, all right? But you'll still notice 63.7. I mean, it was better than he was when he was at Buffalo. He's better than here, better than here, better than here, better than, what I mean? So, with the same coach he had from last year. Now, once again, we're still only 6 games into the season. Anything's possible, right? But, I mean, last year graded out a 75 overall. This year he's down to a 63, right? But still, That's not too bad. You can function. Your offensive line can function. But I mean, you also look here. The past couple of weeks, does this mean? I mean, obviously, the Cincinnati and the Seattle front offensive line, and maybe defensive line is maybe not the greatest, right? Because against Dallas, he had a 56. Cleveland, he had a 62, which still isn't too bad, right? But this past couple of weeks, his run blocking, against Seattle was a 91. His pass blocking was very good. He gave up 3 pressures. And so far he's given up 15 pressures altogether. So far, which is obviously he's given up 12 hurries and 3 hits, right? But I mean, I said, you'll notice, his run blocking is a 68, is a 63.7, once again, which is functional. But you look also the past couple of weeks, he's gotten better. Now, once again, it's early, right? And certainly, as the season goes on, gets more and more comfortable with the guys he's with. Maybe those grades go up a little bit. Maybe they stay the same. Maybe they go down. But, as I said, you see, he did very well last year, right, with the Raiders, and he's doing well this year. So possibly coaching. Now, let's take a look at what Azudu and Neal have graded out at. Oh, my God. I mean, it's just like, this is unbelievable. I mean, just, coaching's got a lot to do with it. And I have no idea how Bobby Johnson's got a job with the Commanders. No idea. Absolutely. I no idea. Let's see who we got here first. Okay, let's do Azudu here. Right? I mean, this has got to get better. I mean, my goodness. This is from last year. Okay, he had 3 snaps so far this year, just 3. So, all right, so he graded out a 61.2 this year. But I mean, last year in 2020, he graded out a 42.4, and his rookie season he graded out a 46. His pass blocking last year was a 39.3. I mean, look at these grades. I mean, actually, somehow in the first game against Dallas, he had 14, for just 14 snaps now, right? Against Arizona, great, but then that was like downhill. I mean, against San Francisco, 27. His pass block grade was an 11. Then against Miami and Buffalo, Miami, his pass block was a 25. Against Buffalo, 24.8. I mean, against Miami, his overall grade was a 27.9. Against San Francisco, graded at a 27. It's like, wow. His run blocking grade against Miami was a 44. I mean, just, my goodness. I mean, let's see here. We got here 2022. All right. So, I mean, against Tennessee, he was in there for 29 snaps against Tennessee. 11 pass blocking snaps. He graded out at a 0. His first game ever with Bobby Johnson as the coach, he graded out at a 0. Week 2 against Carolina, he graded out at a 22 overall, a 30 run blocking grade. Then he had a couple, I mean, here, not too bad against Jacksonville. 60 snaps, not too bad, right? Seattle, 65 snaps, graded out of 50, which is borderline not good, but against Houston, 69 snaps, graded out of 63, and Detroit, 56 snaps. But that was his rookie season now, right? But I mean, against Baltimore, pass blocking was a 20. Well, we only had two snaps, looks like. 4 snaps altogether, 2 run, 2 pass, 27.7. I mean, wow. He had 153 pass blocking snaps, and he gave up 15 pressures. So basically 1 out of every 10 for Azudu in his rookie season. 1 out of every 10 snaps, he gave up a pressure. Wow. That's horrible. That's horrible. So now let's look at Evan Neal. Same thing here. Coaching really has a lot to do with it. A lot of it, how much does the guy, really, a lot of it's inside. A lot of it, technique and all of that stuff and everything. You can, a lot of guys, whatever. Some guys, I don't know, go to, some guys do some dancing to work on their feet, become, right, faster lighter on their feet. Some guys maybe go judo or karate or whatever with their hands. They got to be fast with their hands because when you're backing up and the guy's coming in, he's going to try to bull rush or something, and you're trying to swat the guy, wax on, wax off, right? But you want to be good with your hands, fast and good with your hands. So some guys take, whatever stuff for the, some of it is, being a wrestler is huge, right? It's angles and leverage and everything. That's huge. So a lot of it obviously has to do with the guys, but a lot of it also is coaching. A lot of it's coaching. So I don't what Bobby Johnson was teaching these guys. I have no idea. No idea. Oh my God. Just straight up trash. Straight up freaking trash. So let's go to Evan Neal here. Let's look at his pass blocking grade here. His pass blocking. Okay, so this was 2023. All right. Because this season he hasn't had any snaps, right? But I mean, you look, this is last season. It's at least his second season, right? He graded out a 39.8. I mean, which is just horrible. Absolutely horrible. I mean, he had a couple nice games in there, against Buffalo, 57 overall, 55 against the Raiders, which is borderline acceptable. You want it to be at least a 60. 50 is kind of like, And if you want to be, I would say at least a 60. According to PFF, seems like at least a 60 is, But he had some, as that. I mean, look here against Dallas, his run blocking, 21 run blocking snaps, 78. Okay, his overall run block was a 51.1, but his pass block is a 38.5. This was last year. Then we go to his rookie season, 2022, and wasn't much better here. But he played all season, 41.8 overall. 42.3, 48.1. I mean, look at this pass blocking, 19, a 20, 27. His run blocking, a 29, a 34, 39, 39. His overall grades, game grade, 36, a 28, a 35, a 4, just horrible. Absolutely horrible. So I said, a lot has to do with, obviously, as I said, obviously the player. What does the player do to get to better themselves? Because there's a lot of things you can do, right? But a lot of it also has to do with coaching. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Dable still hasn't made up his mind. Even if he did, which he might know what's going to go on. He's not letting anybody know. He's not. He won't say anything till this weekend. He won't let the cat out of the bag until this weekend. And he does the same thing with the injuries and all that stuff and everything. So even if he does know, we won't find out until Saturday. So or might be a game time decision. Who knows? But he might know. But it'd be interesting to see actually what does wind up happening, right? Do we keep the 4 the same and we just slide a Zudu in there where Thomas was at? And then maybe, as I said, if Zudu's a little, especially on pass blocking, maybe you keep a back end, right? And slide him over that way, or whoever goes out that way chips on the end, to help a Zudu out. The one thing you do know is that at least if Neal goes in there or if Zudu's in there, they haven't played at all, basically. Right? So they're fresh. At least they're not banged up. Okay. But going to be interesting to see. It seems like, if anything, just from listening to people talking, like there's a good chance that they might wind up just putting a Zudu in there. And keeping everybody the same, putting a Zudu in there at left tackle, and seeing what happens. If it just winds up being an absolute, like a total nightmare, then they might want to maybe thinking about, putting a Luminor over there because he has played left tackle, and maybe trying to put Neal in there at right tackle and seeing what happens there. But we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 5 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, this once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.